and welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today, we're going to explore the world of Warhammer 40,000 or 40K. This is Heroes of the Black Reach. This is part of the Heroes system, as we see right here. It's from Devil Pig Games, and also in coordination with Games Workshop, who is the owner of Warhammer and Warhammer 40K and all things Warhammer, as they are apt to remind you from time to time. Now, the hero system is something I've covered in the past, and I'll put links to my past coverage there. But one of it kind of started, or originally started, with the game Frontiers, which is basically it's almost like it's a miniatures game without miniatures, right? It's the best miniatures game, the best miniatures game. How about that? But this kind of system started with Frontiers, which used counters or cardboard. Flat cardboard pieces, two-dimensional pieces, to represent the units, and moved around on a plane surface, whatever plane surface you wanted, and you use a ruler like you would for miniatures and the like. So but all the information was on the counters, and so or the pieces, and so that evolved into heavy box here, Heroes of Normandy. Now this is a refined system from Frontiers, in that this actually uses a board, and all the information you need about the terrain is generally on the board, and it's on a grid, so you don't need a ruler or any kind of measuring device, because it's everything is contained on the board itself. Either through icons or the grid, and on the counters. The counters, again, it kept the Frontier system and put all the information on the counters of how each of those different units might perform against other units, whether it was a soft or hard or vehicle or stuff like that, types of units, and any special abilities was all on the unit itself. Now, there's a little bit of a learning curve in trying to understand all the iconography, but generally really good game. Now, this branched out into a lot of games on dealing with World War II, and this is a little bit, the game is solid, the game is good, it leans to the fun side of things rather than the sim side of things. I don't know how accurate, the way they reduced, tanks and vehicles and everything to their actual characteristics, but it plays, it's a fun game to play. It plays smoothly. Again, once you learn all the iconography, but as you can see from the imagery, it's kind of based on some of the movies, like the Dirty Dozen and Kelly's Heroes, and some of the movies of World War II that we might have all grew up with. So this and so the graphics are all done in that vein. Now, I also covered another one in this series, which takes the World War II to Cthulhu, or takes Cthulhu to the World War II. So this is the same system as Heroes, same graphics, a lot of same kind of capabilities. You're dealing with a lost ranger patrol here, but you're dealing with the supernatural. So you've got cults, you've got Cthulhu, you've got creatures and beasts and all that kind of scary stuff. And so this is taking World War II into the supernatural. And so the next iteration of that is this. It's Heroes of the Black Reach, which is taking the hero system into the Warhammer and Warhammer 40K universe. Warhammer is kind of divided up in two main universes. Warhammer is fantasy based. Warhammer 40K is 40,000 years later, right, or later on in the history of the Warhammer universe, and has its own mythos and legend and a lot of stuff written about it. It's more than just a name. It's a kind of a whole way of life for some people. And Warhammer is a miniatures based game, although they have branched out into a lot of board games, and kind of bridge the gap between board games and miniatures. Some of their I've covered some of those. They have Blitz Bowl and Blood Bowl, and they actually have. I've even covered some of the Warhammer 40K games, like Doomsday. I'll put a link to that are board games, but they use their miniatures. But this is really a miniatures system, miniatures game, and a miniatures universe that they've built up around playing basically a skirmish combat game. Heroes of the Black Reach, so a natural fit, I guess, for Heroes of the Black Reach is, since it's Warhammer is a miniatures game, and the hero system is basically taking a miniatures game to the board. Voila, here we have Heroes of Black Reach. And so this is the back of the box. And I just didn't stop with Heroes of Black Reach, the core system. This is the core game. I went a little crazy because this goes into my Kilroy's bargain. I found it was on sale last month, or maybe it might have been more than a month ago, but it was on sale, and so I just can't stop at one box. I got a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'll share some of that with you. But let's look at the back of the box here. So this is that board. Here's an example of the miniatures, or I should say the counters that have all the information you need on it. So this is really just taking Warhammer 40K and translating it to the Heroes system. And one of the things that's nice about the Hero system, it's very interchangeable and somewhat modular. There are scenarios in here, but you can kind of make your own scenarios. And there's kind of this leadership grid or master counter here where you pick out the leader, and it will tell you what you automatically comes with that leader, or what the command, what it commands. But then you can add in some modules. You can add in some weapons or vehicles or some different types of troop, and make it unique to your purposes. And that's kind of a neat little way you can augment it over time. Now this only comes with 2 units or 2 groups. You have the Ultramarines and you have the Orc units. And I got a lot of stuff for this in my bargain sale, that I picked up a lot of stuff, but all of it is Ultramarines and Orc units. So I don't know if they, if Devil Pig and Games Workshop stopped, producing this, or they're not going to support it anymore, or if they did come out with some other factions other than these 2. I don't know where they're at, because I haven't really seen them. They weren't part of the sale or the bargain that I got. But and Games Workshop has done this before. Game Workshop has had relationships with other publishers. They joined forces with Fantasy Flight Games for a while, and so Fantasy Flight was doing all the Games Workshop games, whether they're old board games, and also some of their Warhammer stuff, or adapting their Warhammer stuff to like card games and stuff like that. But then that ended, and for Fantasy Flight can't do that anymore. So it's kind of weird, because there were some really good games that came out, like for Forbidden Stars, which was a takeoff of StarCraft, the board game. Really good game, but it is what it is. I mean, they could have expanded on that, had expansions, but again, once that relationship ended, so did that line coming from Fantasy Flight. So I don't know if this relationship is still going or what's going on with it, but at least we have this, and I'll show you what else I got from that. So this is the core box, and so you're going to get enough. There's plenty of content to play these 2 factions, multiple scenarios in here, and it's not too hard to kind of create your own scenarios with this system. So let's get inside this box and see what is in Heroes of the Black Reach. And remind me to show you the other stuff I picked up, because I'll be doing other videos. I'm gonna have to break it down, just because I got so much extra stuff that but I don't want to do like solo videos for each one, because that will take up my entire Saturday. But be ready, lock in. This is the first one you need to watch, and then the rest of the day see if you'll be on the lookout for other Heroes of the Black Reach content. So it's your typical square hobby game box. It's not super thick, and given that there's a lot of stuff in here, I do worry about it splitting at times. I try to put I don't have all the content. I don't even have hardly any of the content for Heroes of Normandy. I've got a few of their expansions. There is a ton of stuff in this that have come out for Heroes of Normandy. Different unit, the British and German and Canadian and all kinds of different, specialty units and squads and what have you. I've got just a smattering of that, and this box is really heavy because I try to put everything back in the same box to save space. Some of the stuff that I'm going to unpack for Heroes of Black Reach deals with that storage solution. They came up with a lot of extra storage stuff for Heroes of Black Reach, and I think they came out with some for Heroes of Normandy as well. But again, since it was on sale and clearance and what have you, I picked up some of that, so we'll see some of that over time as well. So here's the rules for Heroes of Black Reach. This kind of, you got the orc face and then the ultramarine facing there. The rules themselves are 31 pages, but that's with keywords. Here's a reference sheet. Here's some special powers here, and that are unique to the World Warhammer universe. So you got the game overview, ready for action, battlefield, units and abilities, action cards, effect markers, recruitment, psychic powers, and reference. So one of the neat things about this, again, that harkens back to it really being kind of a miniatures game, they have order tokens. You can put these order tokens out, and that's the 1 through 3 or whatever. You might have a bluff token out there, and that's the order of which your units will conduct their actions, whether they're going to move or fire or what have you. And that's from, I remember the first time I saw that was with Heroscape, which was a miniatures game from Hasbro, painted miniatures game that was that had great terrain and all that stuff. I don't know if any of you got a hold of that back in the day, but pretty cool stuff. But they had that order token thing, and that was kind of that was like a miniatures light, for the mass market. But this picked up that concept as well. So full color, a little bit glossy. Print is relatively small. It's not tiny, but it's not large. A little on the small side, dual column, but color examples throughout here. In fact, the examples kind of take up a lot of the page. This is not an overly complex game. I mean, once you understand the counter and the units and what the symbology generally means, you're going to be looking up symbology when you're playing with a new force or a new unit. You're going to be looking at that symbology quite a bit. But once you kind of get that symbology down and understand playing that side, the basics of the gameplay is really not that complicated, right? You place your orders, you conduct, you resolve the orders in order, move and attack and do combat, and all the information's on the board and on the counter. So you're not referring to the book a lot, except maybe to look at symbols and say, well, what's that special ability and what does that mean? The game itself is not that complicated. I want to see if they had an example of a counter in here. We'll get to one here in a second here, at least when we start unpacking stuff. So here's your units and abilities. So here, let's do a close-up of this. So there is an example of an infantry unit. As you can see there, you've got all these different boxes referring to different things. The key is this kind of triangle in the middle here. Sorry, it's a little glossy, but that's going to show you how it matches up to other units. The big shield is the defense, and then as you go around there, it's going to be what's its value against other units here, like you see right here. This is that first number there. That is its combat value against infantry units. The number on top is its combat value against light vehicles. And the number off to the right is the combat value against heavy vehicle. So those 4 boxes right there are the core of the game, how it faces against those different type of units. And then the number in the middle is its defense. that's a lot of the game right there, right? And then you have these other values that pop up. You got its movement value, that right there, that 4 is its movement value. And then there's a lot of symbology that is going to affect the game in other manners. Like this is a sergeant, so he's got some command capability, so that badge there, he adds an extra combat, and that I'll show you that in a second, but that's going to add to like your orders that you can use and the like. Here's a vehicle, and it's going to have some of the same references or the same iconography. But one thing here that's really nice, that I mean, it feels like a painted miniature, right? Because you're getting this top-down view, but you're getting a very nice graphic of it, and the numbers don't necessarily block or obscure the graphics that you're seeing. So you still get a feel for the game and the theme that's coming through there. So here's all special abilities, and this is the part where you're going to, there's a little bit of a learning curve, is referencing these special abilities. What do they do? And I don't know if they carried those over from the Heroes of Normandy or Shadows over Normandy. I wonder if they, I imagine they probably changed some of the symbology because of, now we're in space. Now we're in kind of a futuristic sci-fi setting, but that takes a little bit of learning, just kind of referring back and looking at the references there. And so, and you've got your examples of combat and how that works. So again, there's a lot of color examples in here going along with the text. But again, not that complicated. Now here's a defense special ability. So as you can see, there's a lot of symbols here. So this is the part where you're going to have to, oh, what is that? And some of these don't come up all that often. The ones that come up regularly, you're going to get to know those, and you're probably not going to have to refer back to here very much. But the ones, that one off, you're going to like, what does that do? And you're going to have to refer back to this. And that's one of the things, there's not a really nice, I don't know if they included it in this, but in the past, there were some player aids, but a really nice player aid that just talks about these symbols is kind of a necessary element to play in this game. You have action cards. They kind of augment the game. Again, mainly you're conducting these orders, but action cards also augment the game as well. And add some chaos and random abilities, random events to the game as well, or give you some special, kind of unique to your side type abilities over time. You got effects markers. Here's recruitment. Here's that grid where you're going to be building out your forces. So you pick one of these, and the scenario will tell you which ones you get, but then it tells you what you get as a core to your team, but then you have these open blanks here that you're going to be putting in counters and building out the rest of your team. These might represent units or special equipment or vehicles, and so you're going to be building out your team special. And here's an example of some support options here. That this is a rhino, this is a vehicle that you'll be putting in that slot. And there's some rules on build out. They have to like match the sides here, because you'll see there's some side references to make sure that you can put the right vehicle with the right command or the right outfit here. Here's another example here. As you can see here, this is the core that comes in here, and then the stars are like how many orders you're going to get or extra orders. Then this is a heavy weapon up here. And that's how you build out your command. And again, the scenarios will tell you what you can do, but then this game is ripe for do it yourself or build out your own missions. There's some different of those modules that you can pop in there. Here's psychic powers. That's something unique to World of Warhammer, Warhammer. Yeah, World of Warhammer. I think I said it right. Wereboys, psychic powers, divination domain, and then you got that reference sheet. So there's your rules. Here are the scenarios. As I said, there's several scenarios that come in here, plus this game is really not that hard to build out on your own. Here's some of the example of all the extra stuff you can get for this, and spoiler alert, I got some of this stuff. I got like these deck boxes, that box there. I think I got the Ultramarines, I got the Ultramarine reinforcements. I did not pick up, this wasn't on sale, so I didn't pick up that. and I'll do a flyover of that before I do the actual. I might just do a segment of just storage stuff, so you see that, and then do a segment of some of the substantive type stuff, the reinforcements and some promos and stuff like that. So for each of the scenarios, you're gonna have your scenario rules and how you track on that scenario and when it ends and stuff. It's gonna tell you what the build out is for the scenario, and then here you've got like free battle mode. Scenario 1, this is still for scenario 1, sample turns. So you got a little bit of a playthrough in here as well to tell you how to play the game. Then it goes on with all the different scenarios here, which is going to tell you what your build out is, what the terrain looks like, and any kind of special rules that you're going to have in there. So there's quite a few scenarios in here. And they're highly replayable because you might have different build outs over time, and so they're going to be replayable. Here are the boards, very nice thick boards, as you can see here, and they're geomorphic, so you can move the boards around in a grid and build different terrain. And you're going to have to build different terrain for the different scenarios, of course, but then again, you can build your own here. And that might have been that free battle mode is what they were talking about there. But you can see here, you've got all the different indications here for the type of terrain, whether it's blocked, whether it gives defense, and the like, or on the board itself here. Oh, sorry, I didn't show the back of that one there. So quite a few of these here. It looks a little drab and a little, pop marked and alien type terrain, but that is and there's an orc base there. That is the essence of this game. So those are your boards. It looks like you get, how many we get here? 6 of these boards here, nice thick boards. Then we get the counters. This is all the different counters in the game. As you can see, here is the Scouts Squad Elias. This is going to start out with these units here. It's some of its references. That's the point value if you're building out to a point to try to balance your own scenario. Then you punch these out and then put in, some of these other units like Scout Sniper or Camo Cloak or ammo or extra armor. There's different things you can pop in here in these slots to do your build out, and they have a cost as well, as you see here. And here's the squads. As you see, there's a good little top-down view. I just like the graphics here. You got a little top-down view, all your key information there, any special abilities, and then flip it over. And these take like one hit, I guess. Some units might take more. Ooh, they pop out pretty easily. Just trying to flip these over, they're popping out there. See that? Here's a vehicle here. And you hear some like Brother Orad. So you've got some like individual heroes here. He costs a 40. You'll get his counter itself, but then he can command something. He can be in a vehicle or get something you can pop in there. So it's, as I said, it's really modular. So, and they pop out really easy. See, that just came out right there. Just hold on to it. There's a vehicle on the flip side. What it looks like is more of a wreck now. Now we're getting into some of the special counters and stuff that you might, markers for stuff. Here's the chart. You're going to keep track of stuff for each of the different scenarios. Really nice. As I said, I generally like this system. It's a nice system. As I said, I think I've said in past videos, I'm really not a huge miniatures person. I've played miniatures, but I just don't have the time, patience, or skill, mostly the skill to paint. And so to me, this is a nice, cheap option to that, of getting the feel and effect of this universe and this world and these units without all the time and effort to do the paint job. Well, these really poke out. I mean, I just flip it over and they're popping out. Let's get quite a few counter sheets in here. We're into the orcs here. Here's the Storm Boys. And these are good, thick counters, and the graphics are nice there. and they punch out very nicely as well. Then you have some of these, like a flame attack or whatever, that are almost like templates that you put down on the board. So again, this harkens back to really a miniatures game, right? This is the best non-miniature miniature game I can think of. There you go there. Then we're going to have, here are those order counters that you get. Those are for the orcs, and then you've got order counters for the ultramarines there. These are nice wood blocks. You've got dice that come with this, blue and black. Then we have the cards here. I know this is going over, and there's more stuff I want to cover today, but this is the kickoff video, right? So, and here, these are the cards for the Ultramarines, I guess. They have the, yeah, this is for the Ultramarines. So they have their own unique card sets that are going to be able to allow you to do some unique stuff for them. And they're really more like tactical type cards. And this tells you when you can play at any time. It tells you what it does. Play during the move action of any enemy unit except an infantry unit, and then it tells you what it does. And so you'll have this deck, and you're not going to have this. It's going to be random what you have access to, but you're going to have access to several of these over time, and then they kind of help you augment your tactical situation on the board. Oh, this plastic does not want to come out. Well, there we go. Huh. Going to be that way. I'm going to be that way. So there's the back of the orcs cards. And they're going to have stuff that's unique to them. They're generally very aggressive and run into combat, berserker type mode. So they're going to have cards that kind of do that. Go, go, go. Always ready. So, example of those cards here. And then we've got a little catalog there. So that is what you get in the box. Most of it's Heroes of Normandy stuff. That's what you get in the box of Heroes of Blackreach. All the stuff you need for many hours of play of this game. As I said, you got 6 boards, you got a lot of counter sheets there, and you've got plenty of stuff to, that's already popping out, you got plenty of stuff to play, you know, for hours of play with just this box, with all the different scenarios and the ability just to, you know, throw pieces down and do your own build out as well. So anyway, I like this system. If you like the Hero system from Heroes of Normandy or Shadows over Normandy, and you like Warhammer 40K, this is probably a no-brainer, right? If you're a big Warhammer 40K miniatures person, then you know this is probably not for you, because this is limiting. This is on a board, and it's kind of a new system that you have to learn. But if you like that universe and just don't have the time for the miniatures and want to see it in a board format, then this is probably for you. Other stuff that I'm probably going to cover today in other videos is Drop Zone. This was a kind of a precursor to it. This was issue 1. I don't know if they came out with other issues, but this was kind of like a sample kit to play the game. There's enough stuff in here to play the game, but it's not like the full game of this. So if you this was kind of a teaser to play the game. Then there were some promos that came out. Here's a base here. On the back is just clear, but and this is just a board to go with the game. There was this promo here for the orcs. There's Zogrim's counter. There's his command kind of build out, you know, that he can actually put something else in there. And then you had, I got the Ultramarines reinforcements. So I'll do a separate unboxing or unbagging of just those. Maybe I'll put all 4 of these together. Maybe not. But then there's a lot of storage stuff that I got on sale as well. There's these deck boxes for the cards. And I think there's sleeves that come in here, so you can sleeve the cards for those, the unique decks. Here's a storage box for just the Ultramarines, and so that since I got the reinforcements, then this might come in handy for that. And then there was this storage box for just Black Reach in general. This is for a lot of the tokens and counters that come in there, the game elements, and then you can put some of the forces in there as well. Again, I normally don't do all this. I normally try to put everything back in the box itself, is what I've done with Heroes of Normandy. But again, I didn't get as much stuff as I probably have for Black Reach now. Plus this was all on sale, right? So it was a bargain. So I couldn't resist. I cannot resist a bargain. Anyway, there you have it. That is all my stuff for Heroes of Black Reach. More stuff to come today. Stay tuned. As you'll see, this is a kind of a full sci-fi fantasy Saturday, but mainly you saw what was in the box of Heroes of Black Reach. There you have it. Thank you so much for stopping by on this Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. I have more to come. Stay tuned for that. And let me know your thoughts on any of this. If you've played this game, if you like Heroes of Normandy, Shadows of Normandy, or especially Heroes of Black Reach, give me your thoughts on it. What do you think about it? Love it, hate it? What do you know about the continued support of it? Love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks all for spending some time with me. Take care. Thanks for watching.